Your dog has the mental capacity of a 2-year-old, so why don't we come up with a plan and outthink him? In this video, that's exactly what we're gonna do. You need a game plan in place that the whole house understands, agrees with, and is committed to implementing. Everyone needs to have an assigned role and assigned times to be carrying out those roles. If your household has multiple people, do your best to divide and conquer while implementing consistent rules. Here's an example of a schedule that will set your puppy up for success. So let's say there's a dad who's an early riser out of habit or just out of a work schedule, and he gets up at 5 o'clock. He'll wake the puppy up. Remember, that means that you are waking the puppy up. And then he'll do the initial outing, and then maybe he'll play, and if he has time, do food-based training. If he's rushed for work, maybe he'll just opt to feed the puppy out of the Kong wobbler. We've all heard breakfast is the most important meal of the day because it gets your metabolism turned on and for a couple other reasons. The same can be said for breakfast food-based training. It helps start the day with your dog listening to you and you being more receptive to his communication. So from the hours of about 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., the puppy goes back in the crate, and at which point he can have maybe a hard bone to chew on or a Kong with peanut butter. And at 7 a.m., the rest of the family wakes up. And at that point, maybe mom delegates for the kids to take the puppy out, and then for another kid to play with the puppy as its sibling eats breakfast. And then once the one sibling's done, they switch. Water might be limited at this point of the morning routine, depending on the puppy's age and where the puppy lies on the puppy potty training curve. At 8 a.m., the puppy goes back in the crate, since we know at this time, trying to get out the door for work and for school, that this is a high point of failure because you're trying to do those last minute things before getting out the door and somebody's not focused on the puppy. So when 8:30 rolls around, we'll do a last call for the puppy. He's going to remain in the crate after that last call for about 3 hours. And by working the crate into his normal routine, this allows him to begin to accept it while working out any sort of separation anxiety, as well as working on potty training at a very early age. From 12:30 to 1:30, a dog walker or a neighbor comes by to let your puppy eliminate, and then they feed your puppy with a Kong wobbler, and then maybe they give him a bone or a Kong while he's baking a turd in the crate. After a second outing, maybe your dog walker plays tug with your dog, or he or she takes your dog on a walk using your puppy's harness. After a 20 to 30 minute play or walking session, they give a last call and then back in the crate until 5 p.m. rolls around, at which point mom and the kids come home from work and school, and one child will play with the puppy while the other one does homework, and then they'll switch. It's going to be very comparable to the morning routine. At 6 p.m., dad comes home, gets out of his work clothes, eats a bite for dinner, at which point the puppy's in the crate going to town on a bone. Once dad has had a chance to eat, then he gives the puppies undivided attention at about 6:30. They do a train through feeding session for about 10 minutes, or if it's not a good night because there's other activities going on, then you can feed your dog out of a Kong wobbler. It's very important for you to know when to use a Kong wobbler because you can't be attentive, or to make sure to carve out time that you can be intentional with your dog and do train through play sessions at about 5-minute increments. 7 o'clock rolls around after the train through play session, back in the crate while your dog can chew on a high value bone. And at 7:30, it's party time with dad. This is where we'll take control of the night instead of having your puppy become zoomies possessed. First, you're going to play tug and fetch for about a half hour, then a good half-hour walk. The walk will be on a harness for distance at first, or a leash attached to a collar if it's going to be more of a training-based walk. And that's something we'll discuss a little bit more when we get to the unleashing the leash section of this course. When 10 p.m. rolls around, since mom prefers staying up a little bit later, she's designated night out. She'll do one last round of play and a last call until lights out, making sure you get that last bit of energy out while limiting water intake is key to making sure you get some Z's so you can wake up on the right side of the bed and kick some puppy training butt in the morning. You're going to spend the same amount of time, if not more, with your puppy, whether you have a plan or not. You could make a plan and spend 80% of your time being in your plan and about 20% of your time trying to get back into your plan. The alternative is you have some idea as to how your day is going to flow and you spend the better part of your day flat out reacting. First, write down a plan with my worksheet that encompasses the 4 other champion puppy training building blocks. Second, delegate based on what makes the most sense for the family member's age or maturity level, for their preference, maybe they're a night owl or an early riser. Schedule limitations, and make sure to incorporate some help for a period. Remember, this is the most important time in your dog's existence. Now is not the time to skimp on hiring some help here and there. Third, make sure if your puppy isn't doing something actively, he is either sleeping or doing something passively, like eating or chewing on a bone. Fourth, be proactive. For example, wake your puppy up. This makes the first mark of the day on the training side of the scorecard. Also, if your dog is used to you waking him up, you can slowly but surely push back his wake up times. That means you are behind the scenes controlling his and your sleeping schedule. Having a dog sleep through the night is vitally important for you. You will be more refreshed with sustained energy during the day versus being stuck feeling lethargic with a headache. It's better that you, by your own cognizance, choose to have less sleep initially, but have your sleep be more thorough while having optimal hours in the REM state. For the vast majority of people, a good 6.5 hours night sleep is better than 8 hours on and off. Remember, an adjusted sleep schedule is something you decide makes more sense. You commit to it and pursue it, knowing it's a win-win for you and your puppy. Fifth, recalibrate. Change the plan as necessary. You'll find by taking a step back, looking at what has been going well and what hasn't, you might be able to change what, who, and when tasks are being done. Sixth, get back on the horse. Some days your puppy will be on point even though you're not. You'll think, finally, I'm on my way to puppy zen. Then the next day, you'll wake up early and it's gonna be one puppy problem after the next and everything seems to fall apart. Remember, this is normal. Every day the stock market doesn't go up and at times it can be downright volatile. Doesn't mean you don't invest. You know, in time, with our diversified puppy training portfolio, your puppy is bound to be a puppy millionaire. He'll be counting them bones all the way to the puppy bank. In all seriousness, you want your dog's good days to be noticeably better and the bad days to not be nearly as bad with week over week improvements. More importantly, I want you to stay in that level-headed, management-driven, self-accountable zone and just continue to learn from your mistakes. Don't keep repeating the same mistakes and blame your puppy, blame me, or other family members. Keep saying to yourself, if it's to be, it's up to me. Here's something to look forward to. During the crate training section, I'll be discussing how to build up your puppy's ability to stay in the crate for longer and longer periods of time. Those practices, combined with everything else you're putting into place while your dog is outside the crate, will eventually alleviate the need to find midday help or you having to run home on your lunch break. Last and most importantly, your puppy's day should have 6 to 8 periods of high energy exertion, typically via play, followed by a downtime that's normally comprised of either chewing or sleeping. Make sure if your puppy's day was a treadmill, the setting would be a series of sprints followed by cool downs. Get intentional, get your family fired up about this, and let's make this happen.